It's an essential skill for any serious road racer because all stage races include a time trial, and the race is often decided upon its result.
Riding against a clock is about the most painful thing in cycling. The rider is racing not only the clock, but the buildup of lactic acid in his muscles. He has to gauge that against his speed all the way to the finish.
It is very good for beginners who aren't yet willing to test their bike handling skills in the wheel-to-wheel action of a mass start race. The cycling leg of a triathlon race, sometimes over 100 miles in the hot sun, is another type of time trial. A team time trial is when riders work together using techniques covered earlier in the drafting section of this program. The prodigiously difficult Race Across America, also a time trial, is like no other in the world, over 3,000 miles against the clock. Here's Inga Benedict at the start of a time trial. She's warmed up well beforehand, and she's got a good, smooth start. You can see from the way she's pedaling that she's in a big gear, but not too big. Her pedal RPMs settle between 80 and 90, a timely shift, right when her RPM started to get too high. Smooth pedaling, and she finishes off with a good sprint across the line. Anyone into cycling can benefit from a weekly time trial. It builds strength, varies your training, and gives you a clear measure of progress. Members of the 7-Eleven team will often use so-called funny bikes in their time trial events. These bikes are super high-tech, using carbon fiber disc wheels, aerodynamic frames, and space-age materials, all designed to cut through the wind in the most efficient manner. Your first time trials can be done without any changes to your bike. Eventually, you could add light wheels and tires. Disc wheels can get very tricky in crosswinds and are not for beginners. A cyclometer that tells speed, distance, and time elapsed is useful for time trialing. Unless it's a hill climb, use straight block gearing. 7-Eleven coach Jim Akowitz, a time trial specialist in his own right, has some helpful suggestions for doing your own time trial.
Find a fairly flat section of road at least 10 miles in length. Start off with a small section not more than 2 miles long, at least for the first couple of tries or so. Don't kill yourself with a longer distance. Remember, this is a measure of your progress. Time this run and keep a record of it. If you're an advanced rider, add 2 miles a week to this run. For women, add 1 mile, and beginners, half a mile. At the end of 5 weeks, you will have worked yourself up to a reasonable training distance. Remember, it is definitely better to ride well for a few miles than to struggle through the last half of a distance you can't yet handle. Start off in a medium-high gear. Beginners can start in about a 52, 19, or 18. Strong riders can use slightly higher gears. Go super hard from the start. Just try to get settled on the bike for the first 300 meters. Then go up through the gears. If you feel you're bogged down, shift to the next lowest gear. The trick is not to max out too early. If you go out too fast, you get lactic acid buildup and it stays with you all the way.
As you get more serious about competitive cycling, nothing is better than a time trial as your first event. It gives you a chance to gauge your skill and fitness against that of other riders. No matter what the outcome, you will have learned something about yourself and the way you ride, and had some fun along the way. The daily massage is the most relaxing and pleasurable part of a racer's otherwise grueling routine.
These are some of the techniques that I recommend to the 7-Eleven riders for self-massage. One of the first things you can do to relax is put your legs up. And this just helps the circulation move out of the legs. And do this for about 5 minutes or so, maybe while you're watching TV, and just rest your legs up. This moves the circulation along and helps it come out of the legs and back up into the heart. Then bring your legs back down, and you can use a lubrication if you want, a nice light oil or even just lotion, and start a kneading motion. Knead the muscles to relax the muscles and increase the circulation. We want to move the waste that you've built up after the muscles action back out of the legs, out of the legs. So just knead nice and deep, just like you're kneading bread or dough, and just bring that along. The next technique is called stripping. Strip the legs with your fingers. This stretches the muscles. Or use your thumbs and press as deep as you like and just bring everything out of the legs and toward the heart. Also do your feet, because your feet work very hard during a ride, and just knead them along, wiggle your toes, that feels great. And the last technique is tapping, or topotomy. Tap the muscles, shake the muscles like this, slap them a little bit, but tap is just fine like this. These massage techniques will help speed recovery time after a hard ride and will make your ride the next time feel better because your legs will be clean and relaxed.
As we're nearing the finish of this four states U.S. Pro Championship, it's down to the two Danes and the 7-Eleven team members, Eric Heiden and Tom Schuler. And it's Heiden making a break to the inside. His sprint is opening a big lead. The crowd is really behind him. His powerful legs driving to the line. Heiden with great sprinting ability, stretching it out. And Eric Heiden will be crowned the 1985 U.S. Pro Champion. Eric Heiden with the biggest win of his bike racing career.
Everyone should learn to sprint, even pure time trialers like triathletes, because it teaches you things about the bike and yourself that can't be learned otherwise. I was physically strong when I entered the sport of cycling, but it wasn't until I really worked at it that I got this kind of speed and timing. Hitting the 100% threshold in an occasional sprint really punctuates a ride and opens you up a bit physically and mentally. When you get used to the idea of doing it, you are a little bit tougher bike rider. This is a very basic technique. In effect, the rider is doing very short intervals, somewhere around 15 to 20 seconds with a good rest in between. The idea is to find a gear that has enough resistance that you can jump out of the saddle, but not so big that you strain anything. The goal is to reach maximum RPM and to spin out. Aim for making the whole sprint process flow into a single effort. Be smooth. You may find sprinting against your friends to be some of the best fun you can have on a bike. Set predetermined finish lines along your regular route, then play the game. Draft off each other. Really work to win. Remember that the second rider is protected from the wind until he jumps. This is the classic technique for the pure sprinter. Staying out of the wind, going at the last moment, and winning by the width of a tire. When you're sprinting, you want to get your whole body involved. You want to pull hard on those handlebars in the initial acceleration. You want to get up out of the saddle so that you can push down on those pedals with everything you've got. Also, you want to think about pulling up on the pedals. Finally, when you've reached top speed, you want to settle back into your seat and try to make your body as aerodynamically sound as possible. Something like this. If you're not having much luck winning sprints, try attacking at different times. Experimenting will reveal your best moves. You may find that a surprise attack is often a very potent weapon. The rider that goes for it early usually feels that while his sprint is not super fast, he can sustain it for a longer period of time. Timing is everything. If the other riders hesitate, they lose the chance to get in your slipstream. So try to incorporate some sprinting into your rides. Whether the entire workout involves sprints or you're just racing for that next city limit sign, go for it. You might find a hidden talent.
Cycling is a very diverse sport, the techniques for which are many and varied. We hope you enjoyed the program, but more importantly, that you apply the techniques and advice of the 7-Eleven team to your riding. So remember, confidence and control can be learned. You must work at your position and bike fit. Nutrition is an all-important consideration. When climbing, stay relaxed. Time trials are the perfect first event. And everyone should learn how to sprint. So hammer it out. Maybe you can be a champion.
Hammer it out! Be a champion!